In this video I'm going to cover the topic of how to assemble an 80cm solid dish. So you can see all the componentry that's made up of it. We have the dish skin, we have the bracket to go on the back of the dish, we have the L&B arm here. Both of these are made of a heavy duty plastic, and this is what makes it so rust and wear resistant to the weather, simply because it's made of plastic. We have an elevation bracket here with these U-bolts here, which we'll use for locking in the dish and mounting it onto a pole, and then we have the nuts and bolts that we need. Okay, so what I'm going to start off with is I'll just go through the steps of assembling it. So we'll start with the L&B holder here, the actual arm. So I'm just using this prop of an L&B. It doesn't come with it, but I just needed to really use it to demonstrate it. But obviously you need an L&B with your dish. So you'll see here that we have these actually nuts that we've pushed into position here. Okay, I'm just going to push down this L&B here. And in terms of the actual tools we're going to need, we just need two. We just need a Phillips screw, or a Phillips screwdriver, and also a 10mm spanner. I'm just going to do here is I'm just going to quickly stand here, and I'm just going to slide this through here. What I'll do is I'll grab my Phillips screwdriver here, slide this up, and I'll just screw it into position. Okay, and we'll turn to the far side here. Over here, you can just see, I'm just going to repeat the process. Okay, so now we have the L&Bs here. So we obviously normally type it all the way in, but it just gives you an overview of how we do it. The next thing I'm just going to look at the elevation bracket here. So what I've done here is I've partly assembled it already. This part of the bracketry here, there's three U-bolts in it, two large ones and one small one. So the two large ones go on the back, and this would be used. So we just slot it through like this, rotate it, and here we have it. We have this bracket here. And we'll just hand tighten these on, and hand tighten the next point. Okay? So we've used this part here. If we were tightening it onto a bracket that was mounted on a wall, for instance, we tighten these in, and the bracket would be gripped in here, and we'll be able to lock the dish securely to a wall. So the next part of the process to actually come along and to fit on the dish bracket onto the dish itself. So we can see here we have 4 holes here, and corresponding to that we have 4 holes in this bracket here. I'll just hold it up basically at the 4 corners, and then we have a slot here that corresponds to this slot. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm just actually going to come along, I'm just going to push through this bolt here. I'm just going to drop this into position, and what we'll do here is, I'm just going to, I might lose focus here slightly for a second. I'm trying to do this and still display it. Phillips screwdriver here on this side here, which you can't quite see, but what I'm doing is I'm screwing into that nut there. Okay, so we have that corner tightened in. Normally what we do here is we'll obviously tighten into the 4 corners. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to do 2 corners. So I'll do this bottom corner and this top one here. It'll be enough for a demonstration. So we can see here, just going to push this through, and we can see here I've managed to do it again. Going to hand tighten to start it. Now very conveniently, the shape of this means that we can actually tighten without having to use a spanner on this side, because there's a plastic ridge here that sort of locks it into position. So I can do the final tightening here after hand tightening it, just rotating this around, lock this in, and I can double lock this one here. So you can see I can tighten it there without having my hand on the nut on the back. Okay, so what we'll do here now is we'll come along, and I want to put the elevation bracket onto this. So what I'll do here is, we can see if we look carefully here, that there's an elevation angle that's marked here. So we can mount this bracket either ways, but we can see there's a notch here. What we can do is we can just slide this through here like this. Okay? And we can now come along, and we can get this U-bolt here. You can see there's 2 holes on it. here and here, and there's a little notch in the centre. And actually slot it through here like this. And this is attaching the elevation bracket onto the dish bracket, which we've bolted to the dish itself. So this, we won't tighten it all the way, but what we'll do is we can use this to adjust the dish into the position that we need, and then we can eventually bolt it solidly, lock it into position. Okay? Now the final part of the process is next. So quite an easy step, which is to just grab this L&B arm here, we just push through, and it just clicks into position. So proceeding on here. That's it. Sorry. So that's it anyway. So that's the entire assembly process on an 80 centimeter dish. So you can see here, it's a pretty straightforward process. Along with this then, if you turn the dish around here at the back, if you had a bracket, let's say such as the galvanized 45 centimeter bracket that comes with this dish, which is feed one, I'm just going to demonstrate for you, which would be available as associated product with this. You can buy it as a kit with this, or depending on the assembly, but you just bolt onto that, and that can be mounted to a wall. So that's it anyway, an overview of the assembly of an 80 centimeter solid dish.